fishing hole. Grab your hat, get your pole. Let's go fishing when you're in the mood.
Canadian Sport Fishing is brought to you in part by Rapala, premium fishing gear crafted from experience. Yamaha, conquer outdoors. Dickies, quality workwear since 1922. Blue Cam, a cleaner running engine for a cleaner environment.
It's no secret that in the spring and fall, walleye are attracted to fast water areas for two reasons. One, many of them spawn there. The other is there's lots of food there, and after spawning, they remain in the fast water areas to feed. They'll even move into the fast water areas during the summertime, especially late at night, when they know they can go in really shallow and find lots of food. Some of the best rivers to fish in North America are some of the largest, especially in the north, like the St. Lawrence River, the St. Mary's River, the Detroit River, and even the Niagara River. It's there that in the spring, probably millions of walleye gather in that fast water area, and of course the fishermen converge on them to catch them. You know, when you're fishing big waters like this, that's moving in about, I'd say 35 to 40 feet down, it's a little tricky to actually feel the walleye hit. This guy doesn't feel like he's that big. He's just a small guy. Because we're using pretty big jig heads. This particular one is a 3/4 ounce. He's only about, I'd say 11 inches, 10 inches. But you know what? In about 2-3 years, because of all the food that's in the Lake Erie, this guy's probably going to be about 3 to 5 pounds. So I'm just going to gently drop him back. And little guy. Now look at, this is a pretty big jig head. That 4.5-inch finesse fish doesn't look that long because of that size. It almost looks like an egg on there. But you need a heavy weight because watch, even though it looks like there isn't any current, I'm going to pop it up a little bit upstream. And I've got this one rigged on a big caster, and I'm allowing the line to fall down. We're in about 37 feet of water right now. Fishing fast, deep water is no small task because the walleye try to stick on the bottom, especially when they're inactive, when they're not lifting up off the bottom and cruising and looking for food. That's where if you have a small boat, you either have to use your outboard in reverse to do something called slipping the river, where you're actually slowing down your drift, or use an electric trolling motor and go against the current to try to slow down your drift. The key is to get your presentation down within a foot of the bottom and, of course, to find the fish. You know, when you're fishing this fast water like this, sometimes it really matters how you jig, whether you give it a long stroke or you're just bouncing along the bottom. I got another small fish on. If you take a close look, you can see that only one hook of that treble is just caught in the roof of the mouth. Here in the Detroit River, the water's kind of milky, green color. So there's no weeds, just fast flow, rocky bottom. And you can see that they take on the color because they want to be invisible when it comes to hunting. So I'm just gonna drop this guy back in. There he goes. You know, the fishing was great on the Detroit River, but it's so nice to be here at the ICHA Handy-Capable Fishing Derby. There's so many people out, we've got great conditions, and one of the things that I love to do is actually talk to people and see how they're doing. There's people here of all ages, from, 10, 12 years old, right up to 50, 60. And some of them, this is the only opportunity to go fishing. So let's go and talk to them. How's the fishing?
I didn't get it.
Snags? Have you been catching any fish?
We try hard. We're gonna try hard now.
There you go.
Have you had any luck this morning?
Yeah.
Good for you. Have you weighed some fish in?
Yeah.
Good, good. Have you had any luck?
Yeah, I got only one fish.
That's okay. Here, high five. What I'm doing here is analyzing their rigs. I don't think it's a walleye, but you never know. I'm just having fun here. It's a nice day. Oh, it is a walleye. Man, this guy nailed it. And he's on the stinger. You know what? I am amazed that this guy whacked it so hard. Here, I'm just gonna give you a little look. Hopefully it won't fly out of my hands here. So look at River, what do you think? River goes, smells like dinner to me. Look at, pretty walleye. You can see that sun shining off it. I don't know if I'll be able to hold it. No, it's gone.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Cable's Eyewear Retainer. Lightweight, comfortable, adjustable, and waterproof.
When you're fishing rivers for walleye don't tend to be spread out through the whole river. Usually like very specific areas where there's a combination of structure break that goes down from about 15 to almost 30 feet or even deeper where there's shipping channels, and where there's also a different flow in current. We call it a current seam, where the fast current meets a little bit of the slower current. That's the area where you actually drift fish and locate the fish. Finding those spots can be done by trial and error, by looking at the terrain that's on the edge of the river or using a high-quality sonar. But when you find the structure and the current break combination, then it's a matter of testing the area and fishing it. And the only way you know if the fish are there is if you mark them on your sonar or if you actually start catching them. Don't think it's a walleye, because you know when you fish the big rivers, like the St. Lawrence, the Niagara, the Troyat, anything that swims in the Great Lakes you can hook. Everything from sturgeon down to panfish. Okay, have a look at it. Yep, it's a sheep's head. Actually, I'm calling it a sheep's head, but what it is, it's a freshwater drum. You know, these things can go quite large. They're normally not targeted as keeper fish, but you know what? They're actually very good eating. So ready? It's gonna be a fast release. Come on. I think it's gonna be a fast release. There he goes. Now, as you can see here, there's no way that this finesse fish is going to stay on there. It actually tore apart. If I tried to squeeze it on, it would just slide back off.
Hey folks, I'm Mike Borovic from Windsor, Ontario. I'm down here today on this beautiful, gorgeous day at the ICHA on the Detroit River. It's a wonderful event. To me, it's more than just a fishing derby. It has individuals involved that sometimes they just can't get out as often as they would like. And for some of them, this may be the only day till next year to get back out there. So to me, it's more of a humanitarian thing. As you know, I'm on the social media, and you can find me up there as Mike Borovic. If you're in the area, please do give me a call, give me a shout, get a hold of me somehow. We just might go fishing together here on the beautiful Detroit River.
This is Jerry Toner. She's a professional angler. Look at how much time she's taking just instructing casting. She could be out fishing today. It's a Saturday, it's good weather. She could be bass fishing on the Michigan side. She's got a new bass boat, but she's taken the time to come out here and to be with the people and to help. I love that, it's dedication. You know, you can tell when the fish are in, whether they're the larger fish that are here early in the year, like March, April, or even these small fish, because there's so many people that take advantage of the fishery here on the Detroit River. Now, you know, I'm running the braid because it's no stretch, so I can really feel the bottom. He was actually hooked by the front hook. Look, now you can see even for a small fish, see how fat he is? You can actually get some nice fillets off this fish, but I'm releasing most of my fish. Maybe I'll keep a couple later, but right now I'm releasing them. So I'm gonna let him go. Look how shiny he is. I don't know if you can see the reflection of the sun on him. They're so brilliant and so camouflaged in that water. So I'm just gonna get him back again, little guy. So if you were to use a straight monofilament line, you'd have a harder time feeling the bottom. But if you look right here, from where my knot is, which is about 8 inches away from my rod tip, all the way down to my jig, that's all fluorocarbon leader, 10-pound test. Let me introduce you to Ryan, who's going to explain to you how you get rid of the problem when you have water in your fuel.
Thanks, Italo. The condensation that happens within the fuel system is an ongoing problem, obviously, with seasonal changes. But the condensation that can be the biggest issue is when you run into the low end of the tank, you're running nothing but fuel and only with water that can't be combusted. And that can leave you in a bad situation. So what we can do to avoid that situation is actually introducing Bluechem's fuel system cleaner into your motor so that you can actually combine water and moisture together in a combustible emulsion, and it can be burned off in normal operation of that vehicle. Let me demonstrate it for you. So what we have here is water. So what I'm going to do here is imagine this being your gas tank. And if you have water in the gas tank right now, and we have that much water, if we add gasoline, what's going to happen is that the gasoline will not mix with the water that's in the tank, but the gasoline sits on top of the water, like that. So with this much water in your fuel tank, the problem being is that the pickup's at the bottom where the water would sit. That could cause either a poor start or even possible stalling out on the water. So the solution would be to actually add this into our fuel system so that we can get that combustible emulsion of fuel and water and remove all that moisture from our tank. So when we introduce this product into our test tube, what happens is it binds with fuel right away because it is in fact a synthetic fuel-based product. So once we've introduced it into the fuel tank, once the fuel pump turns on, what happens is the product will activate and bind with the water and fuel so that the fuel and water can then emulsify and become a semi-stable emulsion that can burn off in normal combustion of your engine. So to avoid this issue in the future, make sure you have Bluechem Fuel System Cleaner.
One of my favorite places to fish for spring walleye is the Detroit River, right on the Michigan-Ontario-Canada border. And I like to time my trip when I go down there when the ICHA Handy-Capable Fishing Derby is on. This is a very large event where people come both from the US and Canada and from different parts, actually, of Canada, and they travel quite a bit to come to this event. Pat Pagano, who's the founder, he actually coordinates it every year and does a fantastic job.
Hi all, it's Pat Pagano here. I'm the director and founder of the ICHA Fishing Derby, and this is our 15th annual Fishing Derby, and it's going fantastic. Of course, the kids are very, very excited about this event, and they're looking forward always to the next year. They have so much fun. They're really thankful for all the pro anglers that come down and help the kids. They learn a lot of stuff, and hopefully they have a chance again in the future to experience the beautiful sports of fishing. And as you can see, all the fishing rods, tackles, t-shirts, life jackets, this is all donated by our major company in Canada that they're sending us every year so much stuff to give away to the kids. At the end of the event, we'll give away more prizes to all the kids. They're all going to go home with a lot of stuff.
Taking my time, seeing what it is. Yes, it's a little walleye on the stinger again. You know, a lot of times they'll thrash and they'll actually get off on the surface, but I don't mind. You know, a good eating size, when we're up north, you know, a lot of the times that's the size of fish that we're keeping. But this guy's lucky we're releasing him today. So he's gonna go back in the water. Here he goes. We're having such a great time catching those eater-sized walleyes here on the Detroit River. You know, this year I've got to tell you about the MC for the ICHA Handy-Capable Fishing Derby. It's none other than Scotty Martin. Scotty is known as Mr. Walleye Wednesday in social media because he loves walleye fishing, and that's one of the reasons why he's come down to the Detroit River. The other one is he loves people and he loves to be a blessing, especially to people who don't get a chance to fish that much. So it's really nice to have Scotty as the MC.
So you might know me as Scotty Martin, Mr. Walleye Wednesday. I have a weekly feature on Facebook, and I'll tell you, what I like to do is congratulate and pat people on the back for catching and releasing those big walleye, those big hens, which are basically the building blocks of any great walleye fishery. So as great as it is to go out and actually catch some walleye, it's even better to help out in your community. And I'll tell you, the volunteers, they are incredible when it comes to putting this all together. They start at about 5 o'clock in the morning, and this entire setup is done by about 9. Kids come down here, and they're currently out there right now fishing. So I invite you to follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. It's called Walleye Wednesday, and it's all about profiling the average angler, the weekend warrior when it comes to catch and release, being smart anglers, catch your limit, limit your catch, and just being an all-around good, smart angler.
You know, when you're dealing with big waters, whether it's just a lake where the water isn't flowing or here the Detroit River where there's a lot of water, it really helps to have a good sonar, but not just to see down, but also around you. So what I've got here, this is the new Raymarine Axiom, and I just want to show you the screen where I've got 3 things set up. It's just loading right now. On the bottom right, it's called the Fish Finder screen. So you can see it's classic, red colors, blue. On the top, it's a down vision, which is super clear. And then on the left is the Real Vision 3D. So I've got it on the bottom setting right now, so we're actually scanning 250 feet out, but we're actually shooting 360 degrees around the boat. So it's ideal. Every once in a while, I get really impressed with some innovative products. One thing that I really appreciate is wearing sunglasses when I'm fishing, polarized sunglasses as well, so that I can see in the water, but also for the comfort of my eyes. In the past, I've used all kinds of lanyards to keep my glasses, you know, from falling off if I'm running fast, or even when I want to take them off to work with my lines, tie knots, and so on. They've always been a bother because they've been around my neck, or they're actually at my microphone when we're filming. So I'm really impressed with this product. It's called Cables. And it's actually, I'm not sure if it's fishing line, but it sure looks like fishing line. What I like about it is that when you put it on with any kind of eyewear, it actually stays away from your head. If you're doing something very athletic, all you do is just pull them tighter on both sides and they go right tight to your head. When you want to take your glasses off, you just pull on your glasses and these slide back. I also like that they don't pick up any sweat because I tend to get pretty hot when I'm fishing, and you don't even feel them. If you wear sunglasses, whether it's for fishing or just for fun on the beach, using the Cables eyewear retainers are excellent because they're comfortable and they'll keep your glasses from falling off. It's midday, and you know what? The sun came out, it's really bright, and I'm having a bit of a challenge with the boat control because we've got the wind blowing us one way and the current the other. Also, that sunlight is pretty strong in the water, so what I've done is I've actually downsized. I've gone a little bit more finesse. I'm using a spinning outfit. I don't think I need the net for him. There we go. Got some spunk. Man, is that wind howling. But we're still getting fish. That's the nice thing. Sometimes you have to adjust with the conditions. Okay, this is where I get my exercise. Look it, he wants to go. Come on, you beautiful walleye. And there he goes. I can't stress how important it is to have a fish finder right at the bow of the boat. In my case, I've got a Raymarine Dragonfly 7, and it's connected to the bottom of the motor guide. That's where the transducer is. Now, if you look on the left, that's my chart. I'm actually controlling the boat with my remote, and you can see those different bands. Those are the different depth ones. We were a second ago in 40 feet. Right now we're in 39, 38. So there's a fish on the bottom. If you look at the right screen, that little line. The Detroit River is a walleye producing factory. That makes sense because walleye from even Lake Huron, Lake St. Clair, Lake Erie converge and move through the Detroit River. They spawn there, they feed there, and it's an amazing fishery. So if you're gonna go down to the Detroit River, I would suggest time it so that you're there for the ICHA Handy Capable Fishing Derby, which is usually the first Saturday in June. She was teasing me. She's going like,
It's so good.
you know what kind of fish that is?
Perch.
You know your fish. That's awesome.
Doesn't want to get weighed in.
Look at the perch that they've got in here. Trying to grab them here. I feel like a kid when they play with them. Look at, so all they're doing is keeping them in the pail, then they're going to be releasing them.
The water until we start together. So that's fair for everybody.
All right, good hit. Man, you know, it's nice when I have my back to the wind because I'm telling you, that wind is so strong. Now, you know, you can tell how fast we're moving if you look at the shoreline. We're clipping right along, 4 to 5 miles an hour, and you can see the wind in the leaves up there on top of the trees. Beautiful eating-sized walleye right here from the Detroit River. Just so silvery, beautiful. They still have that white patch on the anal fin and that really typical mark right on the bottom of the tail, white, that identifies them as a walleye. This is a Great Lakes walleye, probably from Lake Erie, that's got the potential of growing over 15 pounds. So let's do the stretch again. We call this the walleye stretch. He hasn't been out of the water very long, and you know what? I can't hold on to them.
Canadian Sport Fishing has been brought to you in part by Rapala, premium fishing gear crafted from experience. Yamaha, conquer outdoors. Dickies, quality workwear since 1922. Blue Cam, a cleaner running engine for a cleaner environment.
So what I'm going to do is just take it off of the electric and drop my jig down. This is where it's so important to have a fish finder at the front, especially when you're dealing with windage and you're dealing with current and structure breaks. So the fish I've been getting have been in that 35 to, I'd say about 38 feet. So this is the spot right here. So you can see the way I'm working at that ridge.